Hello, everybody. I'm back again. I thought to this evening make a topic on forgiveness, letting go of grudges and bitterness. This is a really hard topic to really talk about because it's not easy to forgive, especially when someone has done you wrong multiple times, has hurt you, abused you, did you wrong, um, maybe try to make you belittle you. You know, there are many things that people do to you that does make us angry. That makes us um have bitterness and grudges against another person, even anger. Like growing up, a parent could constantly criticize you. And when a parent continuously criticizes you through all your years, you start to believe it and it starts to bring you down instead of building you up as a person. It brings you more down and it belittles you, makes you feel like you're not even worth that you're not worthy, you're not worth being a person, you know, of being respected or like you can't do anything right, you know. It makes you feel worthless. And maybe someone at work maybe have their little cliques and they could be talking about you behind your back. Or maybe a colleague could be treating you badly when he or she treats everybody else good. And you see those things. And you start to gain this grudge or this anger against that person. Because why are you doing this to me? You know? Or maybe you had a spouse that had affairs multiple times. That's not an easy thing to forgive that. But people have forgived once, and then after they did it multiple times over, more than once, I mean, it's always stuck in the back of your mind. If you're willing to forgive that once, can this person do this again to me? Can he or she, because believe me, women can cheat just as much as a man can cheat. Um, Especially a woman and a man, it doesn't matter. Can I trust this person anymore? You know, and most marriages do land up in divorce when there is an affair going on, majority of the time. Or maybe you had a traumatic experience. It could be like um, you were abused, sexually abused, physically abused growing up. You could have went to war and landed up with a um, post stress traumatic disorder. You can land up with things like that. It's just bad experiences, wounds that are left there, a lasting feeling of resentment, bitterness, and anger, sometimes even hatred, becomes part of us because of so much things that someone has done to us. You start to build yourself up with so much grudges in you and so much bitterness and anger and sometimes even rage, believe it or not. But if you hold on to that pain, you might be one who pays most dearly. By embracing forgiveness, you also can embrace peace and hope. Forgiveness can lead you down a path of physical, emotional, and spiritual well being. You will definitely feel so much better, like something is lifted off your shoulders, and you feel this inner peace within yourself because now you are able to forgive those people. Just let it go and just move on. You know, just move on. It's not easy to do this, especially when you've been done wrong so many times. It's just it can be hard. And it says, what is forgiveness? Forgiveness means different things to different people because it does. But in general, it involves an intentional decision to let go of resentment and anger. The act that hurts or offended you might always be with you, but working on forgiveness can lessen the act's grip. I'm sorry. Forgiveness can lessen the act's grip on you. It can help free you from the control of the person who harmed you. Sometimes forgiveness might even lead to the feelings of understanding, empathy, and and compassion for the one who hurt you. I know it's difficult to understand this, but sometimes it is right. It really is. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting, because it doesn't, because it's always going to be up here. It definitely will always be there. Or excusing the harm done to you. It also doesn't necessarily mean making up with the person that caused the harm to you. Forgiveness brings a kind of peace that allows you to focus on yourself and helps you to go on with life. Well, what are the benefits of forgiving somebody? What are the benefits? Letting go of grudge and bitterness can make ways for improved health, peace of mind, and forgiveness can lead to healthier relationships, improved mental health, less anxiety, stress, and hostility, fewer symptoms of depression, lower blood pressure, a stronger immune system, improved heart health, and improved self esteem. That's a lot that forgiveness can really do. Why is it so easy to hold a grudge? Why is it easy to hold a grudge? Why? I mean, if someone's done you wrong, I get it. I do. Being hurt by someone, particularly someone you love and trust, that is the hardest. Can cause anger, sadness, confusion. If you dwell on hurtful events or situations, grudges, fill, filled with resentment and hostility can take root within you. If you allow a negative feelings to crowd out positive feelings, you might find yourself swallowed up by bitterness or a sense of injustice. Wow, that's some deep stuff. What are the effects of holding a grudge? If you struggle with finding forgiveness, you might bring anger and bitterness into new relationships and experiences, become so wrapped up in the wrongdoing that you can't enjoy the present. Wow. You become depressed, irritable, anxious, feel feeling at odds with your spiritual beliefs, and loss of valuable and enriching connections with others. Wow. That's how much when you hold on to grudge that it basically goes into your next relationship, and uh, you just bring it all in, and you make your next relationship even just as bad if you can't let go. Because not everybody's like that. Not everybody is going to be like that. How do I move towards a state of forgiveness? How do we do that? Forgiveness is a commitment to change. It takes practice, of course, to move towards forgiveness. You might recognize the value of forgiveness and how it can improve your life. Identify what needs healing and who you want to forgive. Who do you want to forgive? Join a support group or see a counselor. Sometimes we do need to speak to someone. Sometimes professional help, we might need that. Acknowledge your emotions about the harm done to you and recognize how those emotions affect your behavior and work to release them. Wow. And it says choose to forgive the person who's offended you. Release the control and the power that the offending person and situation have had in your life. So it's like releasing yourself, releasing, letting go of it, just moving towards um, improving how to forgive. Because sometimes it's not easy. It isn't. Mm-mm. Especially when someone has done wrong to you, especially those closest to you. It could be your parents, it could be your own sibling, it could be your husband, your wife, it could be a cousin, it could be any of those that are closest to you. What happens if I can't forgive someone? Forgiveness can be hard because it can be, especially if the person who hurts you doesn't admit wrongdoing. If you find yourself stuck, practice empathy. Try seeing the situation from the other person's point of view. Ask yourself about the circumstances that may have led the other person to behave in such a way. Perhaps you would have reacted similarly if you faced the same situation. Wow, maybe so. Reflect on times when others have forgiven you. Write in a journal. Like if you have a journal, that's probably a nice place to write your feelings and everything. Pray or use guided meditation or talk with a person you found to be wise, and compassionate, such as a spiritual leader, a mental health provider, or an im- impartial, loved one or a friend. So, like, basically, like, if it's hard and you can't forgive someone, these are like some things that you can try. Um, like practice empathy. Ask yourself, like, put yourself in their shoes. Would you have acted similarly to them, or would it have been differently? You know, and then reflect on times when others forgave us, because sometimes none of us are perfect. You know, there's no such thing, and maybe we did something to somebody and they forgave us. And also, another way is to write in your journal, meditate, pray, talk to someone like a professional, somebody that's compassionate, a spiritual leader, a provider, like a health provider, or someone that, a loved one or friend, someone that you can trust and you can really tell your feelings to. But also, it says be aware that forgiveness is a process, because it is. Even small hurts may need to be revisited and forgiven again and again. That's true. It says, does forgiveness guarantee reconciliation? If the hurtful event involved someone whose relationship you valued, forgiveness may lead to reconciliation, but that isn't always the case. Reconciliation might be might be impossible, but it could be possible if the offender has died or is unwilling to communicate with you. In other cases, reconciliation might not be appropriate. Still, forgiveness is possible, even if reconciliation isn't. So, forgiveness is just let it go and move on. That's all you can do sometimes. What if the person I'm forgiving doesn't change? Getting another person to change isn't the point of forgiveness, because it's not. It's about focusing on what you can control in the here and now. Think of forgiveness more about how it can change your life by bringing you peace, happiness, and emotional and spiritual healing. Forgiveness can take away the power that that the other person continues to have in your life. Wow. What if I'm the one who needs forgiveness? See, that's it. The first step is to honestly assess and acknowledge the wrongs you've done and how they have affected others. Avoid judging yourself too harshly. If you're truly sorry for something you've said or done and want forgiveness, consider reaching out to those you've harmed. Speak to your sorry, is to speak of your sincere sorrow of regret. Ask for forgiveness without making excuses. You can't force someone to forgive you. Others need to move to forgiveness in their own time. Remember, forgiveness is a process. Whatever happens, commit to treating others with compassion, empathy, and respect. So that's a lot when it comes to forgiveness. Forgiveness is not an easy thing to do. It really isn't. That I do know. I've had many experiences in my life. I had to forgive multiple times. Um, I remember my father, because he couldn't handle me. He put me into foster care. I think I mentioned this in one of my other videos before. And this woman really wanted to adopt me. This family wanted to adopt me, and I refused because I was like, I have a family. I don't think he meant to, for the purpose for you to adopt me. But then he handed me to my Aunt Minerva in San Antonio, and things went wrong there. I was just so mad at him for a little bit, but then I realized that I had to learn to forgive. I had to learn to forgive him because he just didn't know how to deal very well with the situation. And my dad didn't want me to go with my mom, but then eventually I did go with my mom, and that was not a good choice either. But there's a lot of things that has been done. Many people I've forgiven over and over and over again. And me. I When I was a little girl, I was full of anger, and I was an angry little girl because I was treated like the black sheep pretty much. Um I know that. Um but I was had so much anger in me that I physically would hurt my sister all the time. When I turned 13 years old, I finally got out of the house where I was just me now. I hated myself because of what I did. And you know what? When my sister grew up and she finally came to see me um, from England to the US, I talked to her and I told her that I was so sorry for everything I've ever done. I was just an angry girl, and she forgave me. So it's not just sometimes forgiveness is not an easy thing, especially when you know that you've done wrong. Or when someone has done you wrong, how do you forgive? How do you move on? You want to talk to that person and to see if, that person is willing to forgive you or you're willing to forgive that person. None of us are perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. All of us at one time has done something wrong in our lives to someone, but we have to learn to forgive. Forgiveness is a process. Forgiveness is also a release of a lot of negative things, and it takes a whole load off of you too. It makes you feel better, your health, your well-being, everything about you. So I just thought I would share that topic with you because um this is something that a lot of people do go through on a daily basis. I mean, like I said, we're imperfect human beings. At one time or another in our lives, we had to forgive someone or someone had to forgive us. Maybe we did something wrong at one time or they did something wrong, but we have to learn to forgive. And yes, it's a process. And especially if someone has done us and hurt us really badly, how do we forgive? Do we just move on? Can we talk to the person? Is the person willing to accept, are they willing to accept what they did was wrong? And then we can forgive them? What if they can't forgive? I mean, what if they can't, accept the idea that they did something wrong? How are we to forgive them? We just move on. That's all we can do. And just try to not follow suit. Just try to make our lives and move on. That's all we can do. But forgiveness is definitely a good policy to institute in your life because it releases a lot of anger, rage, even though we have it. Someone has done us wrong through our life. Eventually, it's a relief. And sometimes we do need to speak to a professional. Sometimes we might have to talk to someone we trust dearly and that, can be a good shoulder to lie on so that we can tell all our feelings to them and they can understand and maybe be empathetic to our situation. It's not easy. It never is. But I thought just to um make this topic because it's an ongoing, thing that happens daily. And if you guys want to leave a comment or anything to me, that's fine. You can leave it in the comment areas. Um, and I hope you like this video. It was basic, it was simple. It had just, different details and, the process of forgiveness and things like that, but hopefully you got something out of it. Um, well, adios, adios, adios. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.